Being a sword-fighting Spider-Man or a 50-foot MMA fighter is pretty freaking hard, but the guys from Attack on Titan make it look easy. So let's look at the best fighters from the series. Anyone can be a fierce fighter with a Titan form. Being 50 feet tall gives you a pretty solid advantage in any combat experience. Then you have Levi, who isn't even tall by human standards. The little guy stands at 5'2" and has the muscle mass of Michael Cera. Yet despite all that, he is the most feared single combatant in the Attack on Titan universe. We've seen him take on powerful Titans and humans over the years. It may not seem impressive for him to slice and dice mindless Titans, but when he took on Kenny's squad, he showed how quick and versatile he is. Then he really stepped up his game when he started a rivalry with one of the smartest Titans out there. The Beast Titan didn't know what hit him when Levi came flying his way with that fiery rage in his eyes. In pretty much every way, Levi is the most OP Attack on Titan character, even without a Titan form. The one thing he does need to rethink though, the hair. He looks like he just walked out of a Fall Out Boy concert. His hair always looks super greasy too. You're supposed to use a dime-sized amount of product on your hair, not a quarter, Levi. Please don't beat me up. Okay, so we all know who the Attack on Titan MVP is here. I feel like 90% of the jaw-dropping moments in the series were because of something fierce that Mikasa did. If this wasn't clear enough from how often she cuts Titans apart without worry, she had to prove it again by taking on the female Titan. Up to that point, she was the most intelligent and powerful Titan that we'd seen. Despite being less than a quarter of her size, Mikasa cuts her down to size and very nearly finishes the job. If she'd known that Annie was in there and knew her neck attack strategy, she likely would have won the whole thing. She is also quite sneaky, as she very nearly removed Bertolt's head in Season 3. If she wore a cowl, she'd basically be the Batman of the Survey Corps. The big problem with her? She's a bit obsessed with Eren. Like, if she had a choice between saving the world and saving Eren, she's saving Eren 9 out of 10 times. That's what makes Levi the true number one. He's a team player, and at the end of the day, Mikasa has just one priority. Really though, Eren has a Titan form. Maybe you should just cut the cord, Mikasa. He's a big boy. There's a trend for anime protagonists to be a bit of a hothead. Characters like Ichigo, Naruto, and Edward Elric are all in need of some serious anger management. Then there's Eren Yeager, who's just a Zen master. Seriously, it seems like there's absolutely nothing that will break this guy's chill. Or not. In reality, Eren has two speeds. He's either completely intense and screaming, or he's asleep. Truth be told, that rage and intensity is part of what makes him such an insane fighter. Even by Titan standards, Eren is unstoppable. He might not win every showdown, but he always learns to fight harder and smarter. You can really see this growth in his 2 fights against the armored Titan. He learns and adapts, but ultimately it's that unbeatable will and rage of his that makes him the baddest Titan around. That being said, he would not be a good person to hang out with. Eren is 100% that kind of friend where if you don't text him back right away, he's like, "Why are you ignoring me?" Honestly, Sasha would be the better one to hang out with. That girl understands the value of a good meal. Just don't get in her way. A lot of the Attack on Titan characters wear their hearts on their sleeves. It's a post-apocalyptic world, and emotions tend to run pretty high. Why do therapists never survive the apocalypse? Annie, on the other hand, makes Spock look like a newborn puppy. She is cold, calculating, and brutal. Looking back on it, it's kind of shameful that I didn't figure out that she was a female Titan immediately. Who else has a cold stare like that? This attitude is actually what holds Annie back as much as it makes her fearsome. She's cold, but she also lacks the passion necessary to push herself beyond her limits. Also, she's not big on personal connections, and they can really make or break you in this universe. Like Eren would not have made it long without Mikasa's constant assists. It'd be great to see more of her, but I kinda think that she's going to be frozen in that crystal forever. Did the writers just kind of forget about her like the Game of Thrones writers forgot about literally everything? The show is going to end with every human gone except for Annie, who's just walking around like, maybe I overdid the crystal nap thing. There was one twist in Attack on Titan that absolutely floored every fan watching. Well, those who hadn't read the manga anyway. That was the moment when Reiner and Bertolt casually referenced the fact that they were the armored and colossal Titans. It was this sort of conversation where you usually say you're hungry or joke about if Connie will ever hit puberty. It wasn't the sort of conversation where you mention that you're a genocidal maniac with giant powers. This led into one of the most brutal fights in Attack on Titan, where Reiner took on Eren in a Titan v Titan matchup. This showdown really displayed how good both Eren and Reiner were at not only using their Titan forms, but also at single combat. It was part boxing, part MMA, and part flashback because this show just can't help itself. Reiner showed himself to be one of the greatest fighters in the series, and one of its chief antagonists. It's just too bad he's never been quite as formidable in his human form. Sure, the guy's really impressive when he's all armored up and giant, but he was only ever okay as a Survey Corps member. Also, he's just kind of a jerk, right? I mean, it must be rough being basically an undercover cop, but do you really have to have such a bad attitude, Reiner? No, you don't. Titans come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. Most of them are terrifying, smiling, giant naked people who want to eat you. Some are skinless, muscly monsters that can break a giant wall with little effort. Then there's the one who is a talking monkey. The Beast Titan was quite the surprise when he showed up in the series. Even more surprising was the revelation that he was Eren's half-brother from another mother. The Beast Titan is strategic and prefers to be away from the combat, relying on those Babe Ruth-esque throwing skills. He's really terrifying from a distance, and a pretty good combatant when you get him in a corner too. Still, he doesn't quite rush into action like all the rest. Also, Zeke himself doesn't seem like the toughest guy out there. Not every Jaeger is born equal, apparently. Of all the characters who could have secretly been the Colossal Titan, Bertolt seemed the least likely. He was pretty quiet, wore glasses, and seemed like a nice enough guy. That's what made it so surprising when he was also shown to be a double agent. His skills as the Colossal Titan don't actually seem to be all that great. But hey, when you're almost 200 feet tall, how good do you need to be? He's basically the Tank Titan. Slow, strong, and incredibly difficult to take down. If the Titans were the Avengers, then the Colossal would be the Hulk. That being said, Bertolt is definitely a Bruce Banner. He's not really tough in a fight when he's human-sized. That being said, there have been a few moments where it seemed as though he could have been holding back. As I said earlier, Mikasa did sneak up on him in Season 3 and almost cut him to pieces, but he managed to block it. Blocking a blow from Mikasa is no small task, so it's possible that he was downplaying his abilities to keep his cover intact. To be fair, he's also much less intimidating when he's got all of his skin, although that applies to most people. Armin is one of the most surprising characters in the series. At first, he seems kinda like a coward. For much of the series, he's shown hiding or crying as people are crushed or eaten around him. That's why it's so surprising that he's become one of the best tactical minds in the Survey Corps. He was the one who came up with how to trap Annie, for example. When he's not panicking, he can come up with all of the best strategies for defeating Titans and saving humanity. In many ways, he's the heir apparent to one day lead the Survey Corps. You know, if he can ever make it through an entire mission without panicking. It does kind of make it hard to be a leader when all of your friends have to yell at you so that you'll believe in yourself. In his defense, he's getting a little better. Not only that, but now he's the Colossal Titan. That means that Armin has the winning combination of both strength and smarts. He can now come up with the winning strategies and play a bigger part in seeing them through. As the series progresses, Armin may end up being the most impressive out of all of them. He's basically the Neville Longbottom of the Survey Corps. Once he does, maybe he'll finally cut that hair. The dude looks like he's from the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. If you rated Titans by their physical beauty, the Jaw Titan might be the ugliest of the bunch. Though that largely depends on your view of whether a Titan should have skin or not. That being said, the Jaw is a much quicker and sometimes more versatile Titan than its brethren. That incredibly strong jaw mixed with its smaller frame make it the oddball of the bunch, but definitely not in a bad way. You know in fighting games when there's that one character who's shorter than the rest and shouldn't be as much of a threat? Then you fight him and they're always the hardest because of how weird their moves are? That's the Jaw Titan. It's basically the Voldo from Soul Calibur of Titans. Amir is also a pretty strong character in her own right. She's kind of like an off-brand Mikasa. Where Mikasa has an Eren obsession, Amir has a Historia obsession. She would do anything for the girl formerly known as Krista. That kind of devotion can lead to quite a lot of strength. Even though Krista never gave Amir a scarf. There are obviously a lot of reasons why Mikasa is devoted to protecting Eren, but really, I think it's about the scarf. Alright, most Titans have a very specific function. The Armored Titan is a fierce combatant like a knight. The Colossal Titan is a giant tank. Well, the Cart Titan is, shelf. That's not to say that a giant shelf monster can't be useful. As far as support titans could go, having a shelf giant comes in handy. It can provide barrels for someone to throw or be used as transportation. Fans of the manga know that it can also be weaponized with cool guns and stuff. As far as the anime goes, we haven't seen the true identity of the cart titan though. Needless to say, they probably won't be a happy person with a well-adjusted life. None of these people ever are. Can't there just be one nice titan? It would be a relief if one time there was just a titan whose power just made everyone slightly less miserable. Like a Mr. Rogers titan. A titan that could do a puppet show about friendship but could also take off its cardigan and roundhouse kick you in the face. Any artists out there want to draw that up and send it in for the next titan design? Because that would be awesome. There you have it, all the best fighters in the Attack on Titan universe. As always, Levi is MVP. Did you agree with our ranking? Feel free to leave yours in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to CBR for more Titan action.